Hello and welcome back to Dinar for Veterans, your trusted source for critical updates on the Iraqi dinar and the journey toward revaluation. We are here today with developments that matter deeply to every veteran and holder who has stood firm in their belief that the dinar represents not just an investment, but a bridge to financial freedom and recognition of sacrifice. The global financial landscape is shifting in ways we have long anticipated, and today we bring you the latest intelligence on where we stand right now in this historic process. The atmosphere among currency holders is charged with renewed hope as fresh reports emerge from the highest levels of leadership, suggesting that the long-discussed revaluation is moving closer to completion. For years, we have tracked every banking reform, every policy shift, and every international trade agreement, searching for the signs that the world is preparing to transition away from unstable fiat systems toward a more equitable, asset-backed financial architecture. According to the most recent intelligence, there is growing institutional momentum that aligns with economic policies emphasizing stability and fair valuation in global currency markets. This is not about rumor or hype. This is about institutional insiders preparing back-end systems for a surge in liquidity and value that reflects the true worth of emerging economies. When we examine the Iraqi dinar specifically, the progress made by the Central Bank of Iraq in recent months has been nothing short of remarkable. We are witnessing the implementation of rigorous anti-money laundering protocols and the transition into a fully digital banking environment that meets and exceeds international standards. These steps have always been essential prerequisites for any currency to be traded legitimately on the global stage. Iraq is no longer defined solely by its past conflicts. It is emerging as a sovereign economic force with the world's second-largest proven oil reserves backing its fiscal future. The revaluation represents the natural conclusion of the Delete the Zeros initiative and the transition toward a sovereign rate that accurately reflects Iraq's immense wealth and strategic importance in the Middle East. Reports from sources on the ground in Baghdad describe a palpable sense of anticipation as the local economy prepares for transformation. Iraqi citizens and international investors alike are watching closely as the mechanisms for a currency adjustment fall into place. This is about more than numbers on a screen. It is about restoring national pride and economic dignity to a nation that has endured hardship and upheaval for far too long. For veterans who served in Iraq, this journey with the dinar carries a deeper meaning. It represents a tangible connection to a mission that demanded sacrifice, and it honors the belief that rebuilding and prosperity are possible, even in the most challenging circumstances. Parallel to the situation in Iraq, the Vietnamese dong continues to command attention as Vietnam solidifies its role as a global manufacturing powerhouse. The country has successfully attracted billions in foreign direct investment and positioned itself as a primary alternative to other major industrial centers in the region. The potential revaluation of the dong reflects the country's impressive GDP growth and disciplined monetary policy, which has kept inflation in check even during periods of global economic volatility. For veterans who also served in Vietnam, or who hold the dong as part of a diversified strategy, today is a day of validation. The years of holding a currency that many dismissed as insignificant are revealing their strategic value as economic fundamentals come into sharper focus. What makes this moment so significant is the convergence of timing and preparation. We are seeing coordination between major central banks and financial institutions that suggests a high-level agreement designed to ensure stability throughout any transition. The goal is to prevent the market chaos that skeptics have long predicted. Instead of collapse, we are witnessing a controlled and methodical process that respects the sovereign rights of nations to have their currencies valued according to their natural resources and economic output. This is the wealth transfer that financial analysts have discussed for over a decade, and it is unfolding with precision and purpose. As an investor and as a veteran, your immediate focus should be on personal preparation. This means ensuring that your documentation is in perfect order so you can take full advantage of any opportunity that presents itself. The consensus among analysts is that the Iraqi dinar is moving toward a valuation that more accurately reflects its underlying assets, while the Vietnamese dong is expected to see significant appreciation that corrects decades of undervaluation. While we cannot confirm exact rates until they are live and verifiable, the direction is clear. You need to have your physical currency organized, receipts of purchase readily available, and a well-defined plan for managing any future wealth. This includes consulting with tax professionals and wealth managers who understand the unique nature of international currency holdings. The strategic framework that has enabled this process cannot be ignored. For too long, the global financial system was manipulated by interests that benefited from keeping certain nations in perpetual debt and currency devaluation. By supporting the revaluation of undervalued currencies, leadership is signaling an end to the old paradigm and ushering in a new era of financial transparency, where every nation's currency reflects its actual worth. This shift is designed to level the playing field, allowing Iraq and Vietnam to participate fully in the global economy, while providing significant benefits to those who hold their currencies. It is a scenario that many experts once said was impossible, yet here we are witnessing the pieces fall into place. We are also receiving reports of celebrations beginning in cities like Erbil and Basra, as local populations realize that long-standing economic hardships may soon come to an end. The psychological impact of a currency revaluation is just as profound as the financial impact. It restores national pride and gives citizens a renewed sense of hope for the future. For the Iraqi people, a stronger dinar means greater purchasing power when traveling abroad or buying imported goods, effectively raising the standard of living across the board. In Vietnam, currency stabilization solidifies the nation's status as a top-tier economic player, ensuring that workers are fairly compensated in a currency that holds its value. As global observers, we are witnessing the birth of a new economic paradigm where prosperity is distributed more broadly among nations that have committed to reform and stabilization. One of the most exciting aspects of this update is the concept of a golden age of finance, a term that has been referenced in economic briefings about the future of the dollar and asset-backed systems. By supporting the revaluation of the dinar and dong, the United States is effectively recalibrating its own reserves and strengthening its position by holding assets that are now significantly more valuable. This is not merely about individual profit. It is about the fundamental restructuring of how wealth is measured and stored in the 21st century. The integration of blockchain technology and advanced financial systems ensures that new valuations will be protected from the hyperinflationary pressures that plagued older fiat models. When you exchange your dinar or dong, you are not just receiving new money. You are stepping into a financial architecture built to last for generations, providing security and stability for your family's future. For our community of veterans and dedicated holders who have followed experts and researchers for years, today's developments serve as powerful validation. The persistence of this community has been extraordinary, and the collective focus on positive outcomes has played a meaningful role in sustaining momentum. We have watched boots-on-the-ground reports for months, observing new ATMs being installed in Iraq and lower denomination notes being prepared for circulation. Today, those physical signs are culminating in coordinated action that cannot be dismissed. The skeptics in mainstream outlets who labeled currency investment as speculative may soon have to reckon with verifiable results. You stayed the course. You conducted your research, and now you stand at a threshold that began with simple belief in the potential of two resilient nations. It is essential to remember that with significant wealth comes great responsibility. As you prepare to celebrate these developments, consider the humanitarian dimension of this reset. Many protocols surrounding currency exchange include provisions for funding projects that benefit communities globally, from clean energy initiatives to education and infrastructure development. Leadership has often spoken about rebuilding on a global scale, and the liquidity provided by revaluation could be the fuel that powers worldwide reconstruction. As you contemplate your financial future, think about how you might use a portion of your resources to make a positive impact in your community or in the nations of Iraq and Vietnam that made this possible. The spirit of revaluation is one of abundance and shared prosperity, and by participating in this mindset, you ensure that wealth serves its highest purpose. As we examine the technical side of the process, reports indicate that international forex systems are showing increased activity, which typically precedes visible rate changes accessible to the public. This means that while rates may not yet be tradable for average retail participants, institutional liquidity providers are already adjusting their positions based on new valuations. This behind-the-scenes activity represents the final stage of rollout, ensuring that when public exchanges begin, The system has the liquidity to handle massive demand. Recent indications suggest that administrative and legal barriers that previously restricted movement of these currencies are being lifted, allowing for freer market exchange for the first time in decades. The impact on the Vietnamese dong is particularly noteworthy because of its central role in global supply chains. We expect to see a surge in American investment in Vietnamese infrastructure, now that currency stability is within reach. Revaluation provides the predictability that corporate leaders require when making long-term investment decisions, which will likely fuel an economic expansion reminiscent of the growth seen in Japan or South Korea during their development phases. For those holding VND, you are essentially holding a stake in the future of global manufacturing, and the returns you see today are just the beginning of long-term appreciation. In Iraq, the hydrocarbon law is rumored to be fully implemented in conjunction with revaluation, ensuring that oil wealth is distributed fairly among citizens. This was a critical milestone that many of us have tracked for years, as it provides the legal foundation for long-term fiscal stability and helps prevent the corruption that has hindered progress. The revaluation is the ultimate expression of sovereignty. When the dinar is revalued, every citizen becomes a stakeholder in their nation's success, creating powerful incentives for continued peace and reform. This is why the news today is monumental. It is not just a currency adjustment. It is a prosperity plan backed by strategic partnership. As you reflect on this journey, take a moment to appreciate the patience it required to reach this point. There were many times when it seemed the revaluation would never materialize, when predictions fell short, and when political instability seemed insurmountable. Yet through all the noise, the fundamental economic truth remained constant. Iraq and Vietnam were undervalued, and the global financial system was overdue for reset. Your decision to hold currency despite doubts was an act of extraordinary foresight. You did not just purchase paper, you invested in a vision of a restructured world, where value is based on reality rather than debt. We want to remind everyone to remain calm and professional when dealing with financial institutions during this period. Bank personnel are likely under significant pressure as they navigate transitions, and being a prepared and courteous client will ensure smooth processing. Have necessary documentation ready, including gift letters if exchanging on behalf of family members, and understand any confidentiality requirements that may be attached to certain exchange tiers. Following established protocols will protect your wealth and maintain good standing with financial authorities. This is a time for celebration, but also for disciplined execution of your financial plan. The Iraqi Dinar community is one of the most vibrant and dedicated groups online, and we are honored to be part of your journey. The stories we have heard from veterans, retirees, and hard-working families who place their faith in the dinar and dong are truly inspiring. Seeing these dreams move closer to reality is why we exist. As the process unfolds, we will continue providing insider information you need to manage wealth, identify investment opportunities in the new economy, and stay ahead as more currencies potentially follow the path of the IQD and VND. Looking ahead, the ripple effects of revaluation will likely fuel growth in emerging economies across the globe. As the IQD and VND establish new valuations, other undervalued currencies will attract investor scrutiny. But nothing will compare to the historic significance of this specific moment. The combination of Iraq's natural resources and Vietnam's industrial capacity positions them as anchors of a new financial era, providing a foundation for a world moving away from single currency dominance toward a multipolar system. The facilitation of this shift will be studied by historians as a masterful example of economic diplomacy that avoided collapse and instead created pathways to prosperity for millions. We also want to address the digital dimension of these currencies. Many holders will receive new valuations in digital accounts rather than physical cash. Integration with advanced security systems means your wealth is more protected than ever, with near instantaneous settlement and full transparency. This new financial architecture is designed for a modern, technology-driven world, making it easier to diversify into real estate, precious metals, or emerging ventures. The readiness of these digital systems ensures there are no vulnerabilities that could jeopardize rollout. You are moving wealth into a fortress of financial security. As updates continue to emerge, we are hearing that private groups and organized communities are being contacted for appointments. If you are part of such groups, check secure communication channels for authorized information. Verify all sources carefully, as increased activity always brings increased risk of scams. Never share private keys or sensitive information with anyone claiming to be an official over unsecured channels. Your security is paramount, and official channels are the only safe route. The shift in global sentiment is palpable. For years, the narrative has been one of scarcity and decline, but the revaluation of the IQD and VND flips that script entirely. It demonstrates that even damaged systems can be restored, and that value can be reclaimed through reform and visionary leadership. Whether you hold modest amounts or substantial reserves, the change in your financial status reflects a broader transformation toward peace and prosperity that seemed impossible just years ago. We are seeing questions about tax implications, and while we are not tax advisors, insiders suggest there may be special incentives for those who direct funds toward humanitarian projects or domestic investments. This aligns with broader economic plans to recycle wealth into job creation and growth. As you prepare, think about structuring exchanges to maximize benefits. Consult certified professionals familiar with international currency transactions and foreign income regulations to ensure full compliance and optimal outcomes. In closing, this moment will be remembered as a turning point for Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese dong holders worldwide. Recent confirmations have provided critical validation, turning years of speculation into tangible progress. From banking reforms in Baghdad to industrial expansion in Vietnam, every indicator has pointed to this convergence. Stay tuned to Dinar for Veterans as we continue tracking live developments, appointment updates, and success stories from our community. Your life is poised for transformation, and the world is becoming brighter thanks to the dedication of millions who refuse to give up. Thank you for being part of this incredible community and for trusting us to deliver truth behind the headlines. Share this update with fellow currency holders so they can stay informed and prepared. Subscribe and enable notifications because developments will accelerate rapidly in coming days. This is your moment. This is our moment. And most importantly, this is the moment for Iraq and Vietnam to shine on the world stage. God bless you. God bless the Republic of Iraq. God bless the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. And God bless the United States of America as we move together into this new era of shared prosperity. As a final note, keep your eyes on international news cycles as we anticipate official statements from treasuries and central banks. Mainstream outlets may finally acknowledge what we have known for years, and watching the narrative shift will be gratifying. You were ahead of the curve. You were informed before it was fashionable, and now you are positioned as the new generation of wealth that will shape tomorrow. Stay focused on your goals, keep your composure, and let the journey continue. The Vietnamese dong and Iraqi dinar are advancing, and you are advancing with them. Congratulations to every single one of you for your faith, your perseverance, and your vision.